Well, this is a pretty exciting day. I am standing in front of stuff I honestly can't believe, and I haven't even opened it. So this is pretty awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and unbox all this right now, but I'm sure you guys can see by that logo and the title and the thumbnail of the video and everything, but man, I'm freaking pumped. This is gonna be awesome for the Charger. Let's get this stuff unboxed, and then I gotta take it over to my unit. Nothing else to say other than this is insane. Like, I cannot believe all of this is right here. I'll go over this and walk through the parts and everything once I get back to the unit with the car, but freaking holy crap, dude. This is the coolest thing ever. All right, time to load it all up in a truck because obviously it all ain't gonna fit in that thing. So load up all in a truck and take it down the road. So before I go ahead and kind of walk through all the pieces, show you guys what we're working with, what the plan is and everything, I just want to go ahead and say thank you to AMD R-Metal Direct for obviously making all of this behind me here possible. And this is freaking, I don't know, never in my wildest dreams did I think this would all be here for this pile of junk back here and me working on it. I mean, as you can see, we're not working with much here. We're out of a 10 by 20 storage unit with something I found in a field, and here these guys are. Number one, making awesome parts that fit the car, that are quality stuff. But then again, number two, helping and supporting and working with friggin' me, a kid, to get this car back on the road. So if that doesn't say something about them, I don't know what does, because there's not many companies or people out there that are willing to obviously help and kind of partner up. So if you've been following long enough, you'll know that I got a bunch of AMD stuff on the Duster here as well, and it is parked here because this was my tripod setup to take videos and pictures. So got a whole new one-piece AMD floor pan in the Duster here. Obviously got their front windshield in the car here, got their trunk floor in, and then their tail panel right here. So pretty familiar with working with their stuff. Obviously, like I mentioned before, it is great stuff, and I'm excited to get it all in this car because it needs a lot of it. So I guess working from left to right here, we'll just go in order. Actually, you know what? No, we'll start with the biggest piece and just kind of go from there. So biggest piece is obviously a whole new one-piece floor pan. Opted to go with this, well, because there is no floor left, so it wouldn't have made sense to go with the two sides here. And plus, this is just the way to go. Even if you got a somewhat solid tunnel that's a little bit pitted, I mean, this makes life so much easier. This stuff basically drops in. It's kind of like a tub setup, I guess is the best way to explain it, because then these will sit on the rockers and then the floor braces go underneath. You can see the spots where the braces will go, and then this just kind of sits on top of those braces. Moving back from there, we got the, I'm not even sure the technical term of this, rear seat panel. Let's see, rear seat floor pan, there we go. And I got the brackets for these as well, which I'm super stoked about because the old ones in this were all rusted out. So it's these little guys right here, which then the seat will kind of clip into. These weld to the floor, pretty self-explanatory. So this is gonna be cool, although we're gonna have to trim into this probably about, I don't know, something like that or so, because this thing's gonna get mini towed. But that'll be further down the line, obviously. And well, I gotta say it now, but they also have been kind enough to work with me for the rest of the panels. So wheel wells will be on the way as well, and that'll be a whole separate, maybe multiple video series, how to mini tub it, how to space it all out and everything. But further down the line, I'm really pumped about that though. I guess because these are sitting right in front of me, we'll go ahead and talk about these new trunk floor extensions. And if you're any familiar with Mopars with original sheet metal, you will know that the lower quarters here are always trashed on these older Mopars. One, because, well, old sheet metal sucks, and two, because the seam kind of comes down to a pinch here from the trunk floor extension to the quarter, so water can get in there. Obviously these are gone, but the same thing happened on the Duster, and I've already replaced that, so a little bit familiar with it, excited to do those as well. Now this floor pan isn't just essentially a whole, it's a one piece, but not the whole thing is one piece. The way that these were designed from the factory is they have 3 pieces, which is a little interesting because that thing's just got one that goes in there. So obviously this piece goes up to, I don't know, about the door jamb or so, and then these pieces come together here, create the tunnel, and then these are the rear footwells essentially. And the old ones on the car were completely trashed because water can obviously just kind of pile up and sit in there. So excited for those new panels. And then the last big piece that we got here for this shipment is the trunk floor and kind of rear half of the rear seat piece here. So this is a big piece. It's gonna be a challenge to make work with everything, but I'm definitely up for it. This is gonna be so nice to have in the car because some of you probably already know, yeah, there is no trunk floor in it. So definitely the upgrade here, quite the upgrade. And all this fresh metal has just got me excited. I don't know many other people that would be so excited about just metal, especially for my age, but yeah, I'm freaking stoked. This is gonna be awesome. Obviously the car needs a lot of other panels and stuff, still working out stuff with that. Stuff has been delayed, so like this deck lid here, this will be staying. Bang this dent out, no problem. That little panel, I'm not sure the technical term, it's not the sail panel, obviously those are sail panels, it's not the package tray, whatever you want to call it, that'll be staying, that's good. But quarters be coming off. Tail panel I think is pretty salvageable. I can go ahead, I'll need new valence at some point, but I'm not sure what my plans are for that. You'll see why later. But yeah, essentially once this is all said and done, the only original sheet metal left on the car will be deck lid, that panel, from there roof up, A-pillars, rocker on this side, cowl, and then, well, top half of the doors, bottom half of the doors need to be replaced, and then the front half of the fenders and front valence. So not really sure if I'm keeping the inner fenders or if we're doing a cage, or I'm doing a cage or anything. Time will tell. I got a lot of plans going on up here, but can't really do any of that until we're back at a solid shell. So that's what all this here is for. Ending off here, kind of repeating myself, but look forward to the next videos for the next few months on all the metalwork here. And if metalwork really isn't your thing, well, I got an engine revival video on the way. Probably throw that in between with the mix of stuff here just to kind of break it up. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, supporting everything, commenting. I mean, some of the comments have been seriously motivating, and freaking reading through them kind of amped me up, so I can't lie. That is always nice to see, and I appreciate it. I appreciate AMD more than they will probably know, and more than I will say, because I don't really know how to say stuff like this that sounds genuine without just kind of talking. But yeah, this is a big step for this car, a big step for, I guess, everything here, and it'll even be a bigger step once it's all said and done. This is hilarious, but I got everything in here, which is sweet. So we got the floor on top, the back seat floor piece on top of that. I had moved the seats back there. And then I got the trunk floor piece standing up right there, and I got all the other little brackets and braces under there. So I guess whatever it takes, it takes. I need a bigger space. Before we get into the video here, I just got to give a huge thank you to the guys over at AMD. You can see their banner up there. Got the old sticker on the sail panel there, because without them, this car would not be getting back on the road as soon as it's going to be getting on the road here. So pretty much when this car is all said and done, it's going to be built out of an entire AMD catalog, and that is pretty insane, you know, that one company offers parts that you could basically build an entire car out of, at least, you know, body wise, bumpers, glass, all that sort of good stuff. So if you guys need any sort of stuff like that, sheet metal, quarters, floors, glass, bumpers, interior pieces, anything like that, make sure to check them out. Great guys over there, and definitely great products. So in all honesty, I didn't get a whole lot done to the Charger here last week. I was more or less focused on getting this thing here ready for Mo Party, and then I had to do some other things and whatnot, get some videos edited, some school stuff. But we're back. Before we went to Mo Party, me and my dad pulled the engine out of this thing here. So that's gone. That was a huge help. Did some other couple little things to the car. He took home some other parts and stuff that I won't be needing for a while, so it got me a little more shop space here, which I'm happy about. So before I go ahead and start working on the beautiful floor here, my plan is to clean up this engine bay, vacuum it, just tear the rest of the wiring out, kind of get the rest of the car torn apart here. Got to throw my spare back on the Charger here so it can be a roller again, get it all squared up, do a little more trimming and prep on the inside here, and then we can start test fitting this thing. I got the rest of the wiring harness out of the engine bay in there, cleaned up. I got the rest of the dash harness out. Now that all that is out, I'm going to go ahead and remove the last bit of metal that needs to be taken out before I can start test fitting the floor. And that is this pinch weld lip right here. So you can see, obviously, this half goes to the firewall, and then there's this lip from the floor. So it goes all the way down here, in there, and then all the way to this side. And then I think before I put the floor in, or at leor before I final weld the floor in, I'm gonna go ahead and fix these rust spots too, just because I think it'll be easier without a giant piece of metal right here. So I got that lip cut off the entire bottom of the firewall here. As you can see, there's some pretty heavy rust, or not heavy rust, but some pretty big spots that have been rusted out. So we got this corner here, we go through down this lip. I mean, there's just a couple pinholes and stuff. I'll go through, straighten this out, weld all those up, grind it down flush. This section, I have no idea why there's not a lip for the pinch weld, so I gotta go ahead and make a piece for that. There is a section missing right there. And then probably the most notable is this section right here, which is just completely gone. So goal for tonight, got a few hours in here, is to weld up a new piece for that, a new flange. Go through, grind down, weld up everything, get this basically all situated so that when I test fit the floor, it'll just butt up right against it and I can go from there. Pinch weld lip is finally done. Voila. I got this last little section here to do, but I can do that once the floor is in. Be a lot easier that way, but that whole pinch weld seam all the way up and under here, all the way down to the corner on that side is complete. Just one more rusty piece of metal no longer on the car, and that is going to be a lot easier to weld to now. Freaking stoked on that. Took me a little bit, but I finally got the floor all situated, got it kind of clamped down and held in with self-tappers right now. Had to kind of finagle it in while laying on my back underneath it to get that front pinch weld to align and get everything situated. It's a pretty big piece to have to move by yourself here, but got it all dialed. That front pinch weld now is looking sweet. I'm very happy with that, and I feel a lot better about it knowing, you know, there's no rust under there and it's all straight clean metal now. So wanted to get the head and get the floor situated in order to mock up my new AMD seat braces right here. So these things are pretty sweet. They basically just go along the inner rocker here, pretty simple, and the floor drops right down on top of it. So got them all prepped already. Just gonna go ahead and do some plug welds, burn these things into the inner rockers. You can see I just kind of slipped them underneath the floor, got my marks. So pop the floor out for hopefully the final time, burn these things in, and then continue on with Okay, braces are all welded in. Got the plug welds all on the side there and the top. I ended up just running a couple more beads over that so I can grind it down, smooth it all out. That side looks good there, so time to grind them down, get them all bare metal, and cover them in some weld-through primer. Got the floor back in, obviously. Got it all held down with the seat braces and everything, all set in place. It'll take some massaging to like close up this gap and everything, but I'm under here, gonna go ahead and mark out every section that will be metal on metal basically, and then once I pull the floor back out, that'll tell me exactly where I need to start drilling holes. Here you can clearly see that outline of the torsion bar cross member in the front frame rails here. And all those dots are where the spot weld's going to be. So I went ahead, measured out, marked out where I'm going to do each and every one of them here. I did about an inch gap on the sides here, a 1/4 inch in, because that's a 1/2 inch lip. Same thing for the pinch weld along the torsion bar cross member here. And then if it's on a corner or on a bend, I put two closer together, or basically one just a 1/2 inch apart between the 1 inch gap, just so that way that'll form to that corner perfectly there. There's seats right there, so I'll go ahead and drill those holes. Step one, got to take my handy dandy I guess, I don't know technically what you call this, punch here, mark out all the holes, go through the pilot hole, and then drill them out to a 1/4 inch hole. Final step of floor prep here. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this thing down with acetone. As you can see, I got all the holes now drilled, all them ground down to bare metal, so we got no more burrs. Should be easy to weld that way. Let's go ahead, wipe it down, get all the dust and metal shavings off, and then throw some primer on this. Normally I use Eastwood stuff for weld-through primer, but they were out of stock for like 2 months. So was Amazon, so was everywhere else I looked. So we got the old Harbor Freight special of, I don't know what this is, but it's going to work. So let's go ahead, throw some primer on these bare metal spots, and then get the floor in the car. Floor's in for the final time now. Just got it situated and everything. Got some self-tappers holding it down in some spots. Got the vice grips along the front pinch weld in there. And man, feels good to get it in. Now I just got to do like, I forget what the number was, but I think it's over like 200 spot welds or something to get this all in here. So I'm going to push this thing in the unit here because it is like 38 degrees out. Yeah, I just checked, but it's friggin' cold. So I'm gonna roll it in there and start knocking out these spot welds. It's not the very exciting thing about the floor install here, but it's definitely a necessity. Just went through and ground down every single one of the spot welds. And that, ugh, as you can see, it made a mess. And frick, man, I'm freaking cold in here and I'm wearing shorts. Mint. And yeah, I still got to go through and basically do another pass of welding because as you can see, stuff like this I don't like. But you can see all these here are smooth down flush. But like this stuff, I'm gonna go through, touch up rather than just slapping some filler over it. I'm gonna fill it with weld there, go through, grind it down. Same thing, I gotta do a couple over here, and then there's just a couple on that side there. So go ahead, knock that out, and then I think we'll be looking pretty good in here. It took way longer than I wanted or honestly was expecting, but I don't know what I'm expecting at this point. Whew. That looks freaking sweet. Every single spot weld is now smoothed out. All the rails or pinch welds, whatever you want to call it, are smoothed out on the side. Got everything smoothed out up until there. Oh my god, that looks freaking sweet. Definitely worth the amount of work I had to put into that. So it'll take a little bit of body work in some spots. Most of this tunnel is probably going to end up getting cut out anyway. So like that 4-speed hump right there, whatever I don't cut out, like if I have to cut to about there, I'll go ahead and make that part flush. But yeah, depending on what trans I put in this, most of that's probably going to end up getting cut out anyway. But yeah, overall, these footwell areas and the torsion bar cross member, I mean, that looks, man, that is so much better than what it was yesterday. So definitely worth the work. Got to clean this mess up and a little bit more on this. The whole thing will finally be done. Ugh. So there we have it. Got some primer on the floor here, and with that being said, it is officially complete, minus the back floor pieces here, which you can see I got them sitting on the table up there. I haven't decided how I'm gonna start mocking those up with the back piece yet because I'm still waiting on rear rails, but that's not the point of this video. So yeah, this turned out pretty good actually. I mean, now that I got some primer on it, you can see that is pretty smooth. So definitely worth the amount of time I had to put into it to get it that smooth. It'll take some body work to actually kind of finalize it all and everything, but man, for now I am pretty happy with that. You can see over here that turned out really good. The one spot I was struggling with was this section here, so I'm happy that all turned out good. That spot up there is all nice and everything, and of course that front seam is looking pretty good. Once I'll slap some seam seal on there, she'll be dialed there. But yeah, that looks sweet. I'm very happy with that. And before I end off this video here, of course I gotta give one last big thank you to the guys over at AMD Auto Metal Direct for obviously supplying the floor here, because this car would not be where it's at or where it's going to be at when it's finished without their help. I mean, it's crazy to think that just 2 months ago this thing was sitting in the same driveway it sat for 39 years, you know, all rusted out, trashed inside. And then with a little bit of, well, a lot of work and a little bit of, I don't even know at this point. Here we are. Yeah, not really sure where I was going with that, but we're here. You get what I'm saying. So that's pretty cool to be able to say. And like I was saying at the beginning of this video, once this is all said and done, pretty much this entire car is going to be all new AMD sheet metal, because it definitely needs it. Next video progress wise on the Charger here will probably be, I mean, just moving back on the based off the floor here. That's kind of my plan, is just start at the beginning, you know, the main structure points like torsion bar, cross member, the floor. Both of those are in now, so it's just going to be moving back. Obviously, we got the rear floor section, and then got the rear seat piece and trunk floor, so just kind of keep moving back. Ideally, I'd like to tear down the rest of this car, like get all the front suspension, glass, everything out, get the rear end and out and such, so we can chop up the back and kind of do that section all at once. I feel like it's hard for me to explain, but I got it all kind of planned up in my head, the best way to go about it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to end up happening here. But yeah, we'll just take it one step at a time. I'm trying to get these videos out as quick as I can. I'm between work and school by the time I actually am able to get here. It's like 7:30, 8 at night. And then I usually end up working here till like 11:30 midnight every night. So it's a lot, trying to make a lot happen here, or at least something happen here with a little bit of stuff that we got here. But yeah, so far it's going pretty good. Just one step at a time, and keep on keeping on with this thing. Finished up the floor last night, so that means it's time to move on to the next thing. And in this case, it's more towards the back of the car. I mean, it's pretty much a continuation of the floor, but we got these back two pieces in here. You can see I just got them resting in there, once again from AMD, so huge thank you to them. You can see the part numbers for those pieces right there. And this is definitely a little more interesting than some of the floors I've done in the past, especially the one on the Duster. It's like a 3-piece, whereas a few that I've done are mainly just like a 1-piece tub floor, or for GM cars it's a whole different style. But at least for Mopar, I have not seen this before. I'm guessing this is how all the B bodies are, but yeah, should be pretty straightforward. The main thing I gotta do is trim back more of this lip right here, because this piece actually, this piece will actually sit under the new rear seat piece, which you can see is right there. So in order to keep some structure in the car, but also be able to put these in, I'm gonna go ahead and trim back, I don't know, maybe about that far here, because then these will sit on this lip right here, and then the main seat piece or rear seat piece will go right on top of it there. Still debating what I'm going to do for frame rails. My original plan is, and what I'm still thinking, is replacing the entire rail, but realistically only about the back. I don't know, maybe foot or two are trashed, so I thought about sectioning in, you know, a new piece from like here back. The other side, it goes a little more far forward, pretty much until the start of the arch there. I know it wouldn't be the strongest, but I could obviously plate it on the side, brace it up. This car's probably going to end up with a cage and maybe some sort of bash bar or something in the rear. I'm not totally sure. So I wouldn't be too worried about it, and that might be the easier option to go with, especially since I don't have like a chassis tail or frame jig or something like that. So we'll see. Haven't totally made up my mind. Obviously, the ideal situation, the right way to do it, would probably just be replace both rails, especially since I'm going to be replacing the floor all the way throughout the way back. But just because, you know, we're in this right now, I might section it. I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I don't really want to, because I know it's not the right way to do it, but I think I can make it work. We'll see. Don't have my mind made up. Anyway, I'm explaining that because I'm not going to weld this section, you know, like right here to the frame rail. I'll just get it all mocked up and situated. I'll still drill the holes for it, but I'm not going to weld it to it just quite yet, because I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing. Alright, rear floor pieces are all prepped. You can see I got the holes all drilled out, went ahead, ground everything down, threw some weld through primer on it. Pretty simple, same process as the floor. Then went through and wire wheeled this entire back lip here, where those are going to get welded to, weld through primer. Same thing on the frame rails, cleaned those up, scuffed up the insides as best I could. rust converter and then paint it black. We got weld through primer on the edges out there. I'm doing this just in case I keep these rear frame rails. I'm not sure. I'm not going to weld any of that, but at least it'll all be prepped in case I do. And got the inner rockers all cleaned up with the wire wheel. I don't have an exact wire wheel, but I found these attachments. It's like a stripping disc for a angle grinder cutoff, and these things actually work pretty sweet. So I've just been using that to clean up all the metal and get everything prepped throughout the car. I like them so far, so it's time to get these things screwed in with the self tappers and then start fitting them up exactly and then fill in all these spot welds here. Both sides are obviously all the way welded in, and I once again have a mess in here, and this side is pretty much finished minus the spots on the frame rails, because like I mentioned before, I'm not going to weld those up because I'm not sure if I'm going to be using these rear rails. As you can see, I forgot that there and there. Yeah, I'll deal with that later. Anyway, I went through, grinded down every single weld, had to go through. Same thing I did of this floor here, you know, kind of go back, fill some, regrind them down to get everything smooth. But yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. This corner was by far the trickiest thing, getting this all situated, and then this down here. This down here doesn't look the prettiest just because I had to use a Dremel to get down there. And I don't have any discs to exactly smooth it out yet. So once I get the proper tooling, I can go through, clean that up a little bit. But I mean, it's pretty good for right now. Definitely could be better though. I'd like to get it looking like this. But from what we basically started with, you know, looking like something like that to now looking like this, I'll take that. So got to do the same thing I just did on this side right here, on this side, and then just be one step closer to getting this rear section kind of wrapped up. Now that that is done, I'm going to go ahead and cut this out right here and make a piece for this. So from the factory, obviously these cars came with a lip over the top like this, and now if you're putting carpet over it or if you're going for an exact restoration, this is exactly what you want. It's how AMD makes it, you know, not a problem, no issue with that. But since I plan on not having any carpet, I want to keep a smooth looking tunnel throughout the entire thing here. So my plan is, I don't really know. I'm going to cut out this center section here. Maybe it'll just be a flat piece in there. Maybe I'll have to put a bend on each side. And I'm going to try to go up to here. I'm going to stop about here because you can see this is going to be the lip in which this rear seat piece is going to sit on top of. So I'd like to keep that all situation, or that whole situation exact. But yeah, basically this whole strip coming up there, I think it's going to get cut out here and get replaced with the one piece. Got this piece all wrapped up now. That was a bit tricky. I did it not the ideal way, but I did it a way, which was, you know, get the piece tacked down, then move back and keep tacking until it gets bent to the shape here. That's not, I guess, the right way you want to do it, but with what I got, I feel like I made it work out pretty decent. Got it all welded up, ground it down. I ended up, going all the way to the back here, and then I kind of just caved down this to match this gap right here. And looking at it, the new panel only goes up to this piece anyway, so that'll work out. I gotta clean up this whole entire mess now. Gonna throw some primer on this thing and we'll see what it looks like, I guess, all completed. So there we have it. Rear floor pans are all the way welded in, minus the spots on the frame rails obviously, but I think I made up my mind. I'm gonna go ahead and replace those rails. It's the right way to do it, proper way to do it, so that'll be for a later date. But other than that, I mean, there's not much to these things. They're pretty simple, pretty straightforward. AMD makes them super easy to get it all fitted up and in place there. The only thing that took time was just me being picky, going through with the spot welds, getting everything smooth, getting those corners smooth. But I think that definitely paid off, and at least in my opinion did. That top of the tunnel now definitely looks a lot better. Once again, nothing wrong with the way that they did it from the factory or the way that AMD, you know, remakes it. They made it just like the factory, and if I would have did it with the seam down there, sure it would have fit up perfectly. I just kind of like the whole smooth look, and I think with kind of my plans for the interior here, I think it's definitely gonna look good, and just something that just won't bother me, just because that's the way I am, I guess. I don't really know what else to say about that. Other than that, yeah, pretty simple, straightforward. It's done, and on to the next project. I'm just happy to finally see this all as one piece here. That looks good. Now that the floor is all the way in, and I finally got some structure back in this thing, I was able to take out the cross bracing and everything, which feels good because it's finally open in here and everything, which I like. I dig it. So the next step is to start tearing this thing apart. You'll see why later in this video. But plan of attack for tonight is throw this thing up on jack stands in the rear here, and hopefully get the rear end with the leaves and everything out. I'm gonna try to do it the right way, take everything off with nuts and bolts, or what's left of them, but I have a feeling I'm gonna end up just pretty much cutting through everything. So let's get to it. Okay, everything is unbolted. 7 out of the 8 front shackle bolts snapped, which was freaking sweet because that means I didn't have to take them all the way off. There's one thread sticking through on this side. I hope that doesn't get the rear end caught up here, but okay. Yeah, that sucked. Time to get this junk out of here. Kidding me? Are you kidding me? One more line. How am I missing these? Wouldn't wanna scratch up any of the body panels, you know? These body panels are very rare and worth a lot. Oh, sturdy as can be. Okay, one final. Oh. Voila, freaking mint. Now that pretty much everything is out of the back here, you can really see what's left or what's not there. I mean, not a whole lot left. Obviously, you got a whole new one-piece floor pan from AMD. You got the rear seat piece as well. Got the trunk floor extensions, but underneath, you can see the rear frame rails are pretty chewed up. So that's by far going to be the trickiest thing, is replacing these rails. This side is pretty bad as well, all the way back here. It even goes up to that point right there. So like I mentioned earlier in this video, I could, you know, patch those in or do a second section. It wouldn't be as strong, and seeing how bad that spot is really up there kind of makes my decision of doing the full rails. That's the right way to go about it. But one thing I am happy and pretty excited about are these brackets right here, because if I can keep these, that'll allow me to line up my new rails with them. That way I'll know they're in the same spots, and those are a pretty big structural piece there. So once I can wire wheel it down and kind of see up in this area, you know, where it's connected to the rocker and how strong that is, then I'll make my final decision if I'm going to keep these or if I end up having to replace them, because the rocker right there is pretty weak. I don't know if that's going to come across on camera as good as it does in person here, But that is what's getting me excited for this car. Oh my god. It probably won't be on these wheels. Might be one similar. I don't know. I got a couple options. But dude, this thing, it's gonna be lower than that too. Just a couple inches above the ground. Freaking all the way out to the quarter. You don't even need a wide body on this thing. I mean, freaking best body lines from the factory ever. It's already got a wide body. Tires all the way out to the quarter. Oh. That is going to look sick, especially once it's mini tubbed and everything. Oh my god, this is gonna be sick when it's done. I'm freaking, oh my god, I'm so excited for that. Yes. All right, I'm in here editing this video, and there's a few things that I want to clarify and just go over before I end it off. So first things first, might get a few questions on this. I don't know, I just want to get it out there for you guys to be able to hear. I will be keeping the 8 3/4 unless something changes plan wise. The only thing that I would change it to is a 9-inch, but I mean 8 3/4 is a pretty stronger end, pretty beefy. It is an open diff right now. It'll get a posi unit, bigger axles. That's the plan. My plan also for that is to go ahead and build a 4-link setup off of it. So move the spring perches in, notch the new frame rails, and then build a 4-link off of that. I have no clue how to do that. I'm going to have to do my research and homework. That is a couple months down the line there. I'm going to focus on the rest of the sheet metal work right now, but that is the plan just going forward. In case anyone had any questions on that, I was getting some questions on Instagram over the past few days. So there's that. And one other thing I just want to go over really quick was kind of about the floors here. I know this was at the beginning of the video, but I do plan on running a bead of seam sealer around everything. And instead of just brushing on there, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it off as thin as possible around the seams, and then I'll go ahead and lay the seam sealer all the way around it on those seams, so that'll look clean and flush as well. I've been thinking about that the past few days, how I want to go about that, but that is farther down the line. Like I've mentioned in like I mentioned in previous videos multiple times, once all the sheet metal work is done on this thing, it's going to go off to either get blasted or soda blasted or acid dipped. I don't even know what I want to do yet, what the best option is. I gotta figure that out, but that'll probably be in a couple months as well. So just keep on keeping on. Appreciate everyone's support as always. The freaking comments over the last few videos are so awesome to see pop up and be able to read through it. You guys keep me motivated on this thing, which is freaking sweet. So I appreciate that a ton. And as always, comments, concerns, questions, you know, constructive criticism, I don't care. Leave it down below. It helps everyone in this case here. So let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll try to make it happen.